You're trying to save me, stop holding your breath. And you think I'm crazy, yeah, you think I'm crazy.
Hi my angels, it's Hailey Reese, and for today's video we are going to dive into yet another iconic haunted doll. The theory of haunted dolls in general super freaks me out, not just because I have a haunted doll, but also because I loved dolls growing up and I truly believe that all of my dolls were real, which was probably just me being a typical little girl. But thinking back on it now, it just makes it all the more creepy. Today we are going to touch base on Robert the Haunted Doll, who currently resides in Key West, Florida. Ever since I posted my Annabelle video, so many of you guys have been requesting that I touch on Robert the Doll and his story, and I have known about this story for years and years and years now, so I thought, you know what, if you guys want to hear about it, I would love to talk about it, so that is where we are today. So if you guys want to hear the story of another creepy haunted doll that may or may not be possessed, haunted, I don't know what, then all you have to do is just keep on watching today's video. But before we get into today's story, I do just want to say, if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Hailey, my family here is the Reese's Pieces, and we would so love it that if you do enjoy my videos, you go ahead, click that subscribe button, and never miss another video again. Okay, so this right here is Robert the Doll, and I know what you're probably thinking. One thing I think we can all agree on is that he definitely has a rather creepy look to him. This doll stands over 3 feet tall, so it is like the size of a small child. Robert the Doll is over 100 years old and currently resides in a museum in Key West, Florida. However, prior to this museum, he had an entire lifetime of freaking some people out, and that is where our story begins. In the year 1906, Robert was gifted to a boy around 4 years old by the name of Robert Eugene Otto. It is said that he was gifted from a servant of the family's, and that servant was said to have practiced black magic and witchcraft and voodoo. Keep in mind guys, I'm human, I'm just doing my research, so definitely do yours as well, but supposedly the family, the Otto family, did not always treat their servants the greatest. They were often mistreated and very miserable and upset to be there, and so it is said that this particular servant was seen in the backyard conducting some sort of voodoo, witchcraft, black magic type of shenanigans. She was fired on the spot by the mother of the family, and right before she left, supposedly, she gifted Robert the Doll to Robert Eugene Otto. Now these two became inseparable. Right off the bat, they were the best of friends. But at first it did just seem to be like a little boy and his doll friendship. It didn't seem like anything more. That wasn't until strange things started to happen around the house. But prior to things starting to happen around the house, Robert Eugene Otto decided that he was either going to go by Eugene or Otto, and that is just because I've read different stories on it. But needless to say, he wasn't going by his first name anymore, and that was because he claimed Robert was the doll's name and he was going to be Eugene. Now it didn't take long for things to take a turn and for people to start to realize that Robert the Doll might be a lot more than just a doll, and that was when things started to happen around the house, and Eugene's answer was constantly, "Robert did it." It was Robert. We're gonna call him Eugene, not Otto, so Robert Eugene Otto is now gonna be called Eugene, just so it makes a little more sense to you guys, and I can keep the two separate. So Eugene's other bears and dolls and toys were coming up mutilated or completely destroyed, and when his parents would ask him why he was mutilating and destroying his toys, his only answer he could give was, "Robert did it. Robert did it." And this was a continuous thing. When things would go wrong in the house or bad things would happen, Robert did it. When he was found cowering in the corner and this doll was seen on a chair glaring at him, and they asked him why he was so scared he was cowering in a corner, Robert, Robert. Everything was always pointing back to Robert. Now the parents of Eugene and just anybody visiting the Otto residence always claimed to hear the little boy talking in his room with an unidentifiable voice responding back. They thought that maybe he was just like making up different voices back and forth and that it was actually just him. But other people would come into the house and look at the parents and be like, "You're in denial, that is not a voice your son can make." People often heard what they thought was the doll running around, laughing, causing mischief, and neighborhood kids often claimed to have seen the doll moving from window to window or right before their very eyes, staring at them outside the window and then moving away. So it is said that a great aunt of the family said that it was time for Robert to get rid of his doll, that it was time for him to grow up and to separate the two because clearly something very strange is happening surrounding this doll. So the aunt takes the doll and then locks it away in her attic. Shortly after doing this, she turns up dead of a stroke. And everybody claims that she was completely healthy and that this wasn't something they would have expected prior to Robert's appearance in her home. So after she passes away, Eugene gets his doll back. He finally gets Robert the doll back, and he keeps this doll well into his adulthood. Some even said that he went as far as to building a room entirely for Robert the doll, with a lot of his childhood things and things like that, and decorated it as if he had a child in the room. Now, because Eugene was married, Robert was no longer allowed to sleep with him. I mean, really, what wife wants to share a bed with her husband in a 3-foot tall, creepy looking doll? I certainly wouldn't. So he retired Robert up into the attic and made that his special room, like I just said. In 1974, however, Eugene passed away and Robert was left in that upstairs attic part of the house. Despite the passing of Eugene, however, the presence of Robert was just as strong as ever. A woman by the name of Myrtle purchased the property in 1974 and claims that this doll was nothing shy of haunted. When she first moved into the house, she would constantly hear running, scratching, scraping, giggling up in that room, and once she discovered Robert the doll, she decided she would care for him. Reporter Malcolm Ross visited the house to see Robert the doll, and he claims that the expression of Robert the doll would change based on what you were saying about him. If you said anything negative about Eugene or Robert or anything of that sort, you would either turn up dead, in a car crash, injured, or he would just change his face to this scary, sinister, angry face. He is quoted saying, "There was some sort of intelligence in there. The doll was listening to us." Or sorry, there is some kind of intelligence in there, the doll is listening to us. But still, he truly believed that when he would say certain things in the presence of the doll, his expression would change accordingly. And he truly believed that this doll had some sort of intelligence or feelings or thoughts or something within it that did. Now, Myrtle ended up moving from that house and she brought Robert the doll with her. She donated him to the Fort East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida, with claims that he was ridiculously haunted. Now, at first, the museum wasn't exactly sure what to make of this, but at the point of Robert Eugene Otto's passing, his home had become a local attraction known as the Artist House. He had gained exposure and fame in Key West, Florida for being both an artist and an author, and so this was a really big deal to have his doll and to spend time with his doll, so the museum took it in not really knowing what to expect. As soon as Robert the doll was brought into this museum, so many people claimed that their electronics would stop working as they approached his exhibit, that their cameras and their cell phones and all of their electronics would malfunction while in the presence of Robert the doll. However, as they would walk away from Robert, it would all start to work again. Now, this museum receives thousands of letters to date on the daily of people begging for forgiveness from Robert the doll. Supposedly, much like my Annabelle story, people would go and visit his exhibit and taunt him and tease him and talk poorly down to him and just make fun of him in general. And suddenly they would leave there, end up in a car crash. They would leave there, a loved one would die. They would die. They would feel cursed. And they would send in these letters begging for them to be read to Robert so that they could gain forgiveness. Nowadays, the museum strongly suggests that you behave respectfully while in the presence of Robert the doll. They even go as far as to say that you should properly introduce yourself to him to ensure that there is no offense taken towards him. What do you guys think of Robert the doll? Do you think that he's possessed? Do you think that he's haunted? What do you think? Some theories revolving around Robert the doll are as follows. Some believe that Robert the doll is a product of black magic, voodoo, or witchcraft from the servant that may have been mistreated by the family and was given to Robert as a gift in order to keep some sort of negative energy or spirit in the house. Others believe that it may have been a haunted and possessed doll right from the get-go, much like Annabelle, while others just believe that through the attention that Robert Eugene Otto gave Robert the doll, he came to life. I definitely do not think the theory of Robert the doll being real and being a real haunted doll is too far-fetched. I mean, I have read definitely not as creepy as Robert the doll or Annabelle, or as prominent or dominant, But nonetheless, I know the possibilities and I know how endless they are, and it just really makes me think, could Robert the doll be real? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Robert the doll. Does he scare you as much as Annabelle? Does he scare you even more? Do you think he's real? Do you think he's not? Was he haunted, possessed, or what? Let me know, talk it out with one another, be kind to one another, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think of this, because truly, just by looking at him, I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like kind of what nightmares are made of. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and I cannot wait to hear. If you guys enjoyed today's video but you are not yet subscribed, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I post a ton of videos and I don't want you to miss when I upload. And please give this video a big thumbs up. It makes my heart super happy when you do that, so please do that. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until next time, love you.